Okay, perfect. Well, let's go ahead and dive in. I really appreciate everyone tuning in live for today's session. It's all about effective shoulder season marketing, and we're going to talk very tactically about some things that you can be doing now to best prepare yourself for the upcoming shoulder season. So, before we dive in, I always like to kick off these sessions in a similar fashion, just zooming out for a moment and talking about really the overall picture that's required to maximize your lead flow, maximize the number of jobs that you're booking through the internet. And this is a program that we've put together over time that we call the AC Install Job Generator. And as always, today's not a sales session. Today's not a pitch. My goal is to have you leave today with some very actionable items that you can go back to your team today, back to your current marketing agency today, and implement to get ready for the shoulder season. But it's important to zoom out for a moment and just kind of discuss the overall picture that is online marketing for HVAC. So, you'll see the foundation of that at number one, starting with a conversion focused website. And we are going to touch on this a bit today, so I won't go into too much detail there. But beyond that, having a presence on SEO and ranking organically for those profitable and important keywords within your local search area. It includes PPC, local services ads, putting dollars behind our marketing to get more new customers' hands raised. It includes repeat and referral plays around social media. It includes leveraging your existing customer database, as well as review management. So this is the full picture of everything that you need to be doing from a digital marketing standpoint in order to maximize your lead flow and book jobs through the internet. And the idea is that you would be doing all of this, right, to get ready for the shoulder season. But I'm going to be, as always, very realistic about timing and capability. And we're going to talk about some of the really key items, in my opinion, that you should be focused on coming into this shoulder season. So before we get going here, just a few house rules as always. I just ask that you really dial into this session. That means turning off the cell phone, logging out of Facebook and Instagram. And I can assure you that if you really dial in with me today, you're going to get the most out of this session, and you're going to be much better prepared to tackle the shoulder season from a marketing perspective. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Alex, and I'm the founder of HVAC Marketers. And truly, I've had the privilege of working with some of the top HVAC companies across the country to really dial in their internet marketing and maximize their lead flow online. And most importantly, this is what we do, right? So as our name would suggest, HVAC Marketers, all we focus on is making the phone ring for HVAC companies with the right jobs in the right places. And as I mentioned, we've had the privilege of working with some of the top HVAC companies across the nation. And through this session, if you're thinking, shoulder season is approaching and I'm focused on, my day in, day out, and maybe I just like to have Alex and his team manage this, do this for me, get these results on my behalf. Of course, we'd love to have that conversation and see if there's a fit. So you can always contact us to do that. Again, that's not the point of today's session. This isn't a sales webinar. This is a take action webinar. But in full transparency, this is what we do. We're a full service digital marketing agency that serves the HVAC industry, and we would love the opportunity to talk. So with that out of the way, let's really jump into the presentation. So let's start with the problem, right? So it's been an unusual year, and in talking to many HVAC companies across the nation, there is some anxiety around this upcoming shoulder season, and the curiosity if unusual market conditions are going to be compounded into this shoulder season. We're seeing numbers and reports on the economy, and it's just a troublesome time to be going into what is typically our slow season. And I shared this in our last session, just an overall reduction in demand across the nation for HVAC services. And this is, it's going to vary from service area to service area. Maybe you're not seeing this as much where you're at nationally, and other places it's very exaggerated. I know for sure from talking with many HVAC companies, but you'll see here just from our kind of data marketing perspective, these are things that I like to look at. So right here, what you're looking at is the average search volume for the term air conditioning repair. So you'll see in July of last year, we were just about to hit 70,000, whereas in July of this year, we're down close to 40,000. So a massive reduction there. And the concern is, how does this play out in the shoulder season? So what's the goal for today? With that problem stated, the goal for today is to really help you all batten down the hatches, right? This is the time, as we look back in the past several years, business has been great. There's been high lead flow, very high demand. We have customers who have extra cash in their pockets going for the preventative service jobs and opting for change outs. That's not been the case for many people so far. So we need to really tighten down our marketing efforts and batten down the hatches. I also want to challenge you. Let's really revisit how we look at what we're doing within our companies. In terms of not settling for mediocrity, but really striving every day for excellence as it relates to your operations, but also as it relates to your marketing. Because quite frankly, we've been able to get away with some inefficiencies in marketing over the last few years. And I want to encourage you going into this shoulder season that it's time to really tighten that up. So as I mentioned, the ultimate expression of that would be stealing, swiping, deploying what we have taken years to put together, which is our program, the AC Install Job Generator. The best thing for you to do would be to take this, run it back to your company, and implement all these items. And you could absolutely do that. But I'm really realistic in the fact that that is a massive amount of effort. I mean, that is why companies like HVAC Marketers exist, to implement all of these services, keep an eye on them all, and really make sure that they're all profitable and helping you achieve your goals from a marketing perspective, from a revenue perspective, from a new job booking perspective. So since that's maybe not a reality, short of partnering with a company like us, I want to pose to you today what I view as the 80-20. I'm a believer in the idea that 20% of the efforts that you put into your business result in 80% of the forward momentum, forward progress. And it's about identifying that 20% that can be done quickly, can be done relatively easily, and really make that massive impact on our business. So that's really the goal for today, is to share with you, from my perspective, what are some of those 80-20 items you can focus on in marketing to have a more consistent, predictable shoulder season this year. So we'll break down kind of how we're going to break this down in today's session. So we're going to talk about some plays in order for you to get new customers this shoulder season, including taking a look at some very specific items on your website that can help increase conversion. And I'm going to pitch to you why your website is the marketing hub of your business. And with just a few tweaks, you can leverage up all of your marketing efforts for this shoulder season. I'm also going to share a few secrets with local service ads. This is a game I think everyone should absolutely be playing. I think most of you are doing the local service ads game. So we're not going to talk about the 101 necessarily of setting that up and the basics. I'm going to assume that some of that's out of the way. If it's not, of course, you can contact us directly, or I did a whole webinar session all about local service ads, and we go into more detail there. It's on our website. So we're not going to talk about the 101. We're going to talk about the 201 and really taking it to the next step so that you can spend more of your budget, so that you can have more of a presence in those LSA results on the search page. After that, we're going to talk about how to get more value from your existing customer base and how specifically you can book jobs through your customer list. And then lastly, we're going to talk about what I believe is really the blanket that covers all of your online marketing, which is really your online reputation. And again, we're going to take it a step further. We're not going to talk about kind of the 101 course on online marketing. We're going to talk about the 201, and I'm going to give you some very actionable ideas and ways that you can improve your online marketing so that you can have a world-class reputation within your service area and ultimately drive more conversion and more jobs to your business. Yeah, basically what I said: improve ranking, conversion, and specific click culture. I think you guys are going to really be interested in that particular point there. So with that big agenda, we have a lot to cover. So let's get right into it. So number one, new customers. How are we going to get new customers this shoulder season? Well, I want to start by posing a question to you. What is the number one element that will have the biggest impact on the results of your overall internet marketing efforts? Well, I teased it in my intro before. It's really your website, that we refer to as your marketing hub. And if you think about it, all of your marketing efforts, be that digital or traditional, are ultimately funneling your prospective customers to your website. So think, we'll start with digital. Think about SEO, for example. You can invest tons of time, money, and energy into ranking well on Google for the best keywords in your service area. But then when people go to your website, if that website isn't specifically built to convert HVAC prospective customers into your next customers, it's not, then the whole thing falls apart. Same is true with traditional marketing. If you're investing in billboards, radio, TV, direct mail, all of that is ultimately funneling those prospective customers to your website. And therefore, it's your website's job specifically to convert as many visitors into callers, into customers as possible. So thinking about this upcoming shoulder season, I want to make sure that you all have a few specific elements in place on your website, again, to increase efficiency of your marketing efforts. That way you're really able to capitalize this shoulder season. So I'll show you a few examples of some. So here's a before and after website. Again, we have a whole presentation just on website optimization, and so I don't want to go into insane minutia here, but I want to instead share some very actionable items and really give you kind of a rubric for you to look through your website and make sure that you have these elements in place, right? So let's start here. Here's an example of a client website, and I'm just going to highlight some of the conversion factors that are present on this website. And I want you to think about your own website and make sure that you have these in place. So it's my belief that on an HVAC website, you should have everything on the home page that a customer needs in order to make a buying decision. So I'll call those out specifically. So first and foremost, you need to have a call to action. You need to make it easy for those visitors to turn into callers or form submitters or chat users, whatever that element is, into customers. So you'll see right here, you have both options, the traditional phone option, and then the schedule a service, don't have to call the business option, which is important in the, given the trends we're seeing, people showing more hesitancy to actually call the business. So very important to have those two elements. Also, you see here some legitimate social proof directly from Google. You'll see here a widget showing 5-star or 4.9 stars, giving customers a real reason to have confidence before contacting you as the business. You'll see, a very to the point headline of what exactly the business does. Flat rate pricing with no hidden fees. If you attended our website specific webinar, we talked a lot about focusing on the persona of our prospective customers. It's easy when we're in the industry so much. it's easy to look more through our own lens and what we think needs to be on the website compared to that of your actual prospective customers. And for example, here, flat rate pricing with no hidden fees is really a risk reversal mechanism for your prospective customers. So it's important to have that kind of language. Also, you see here we have hours of operation, links to social media for those that require further tire kicking and want to see your team on social media, want to know who's going to be coming into the house. So you'll see these are all elements that can be specifically called out, but are very intentionally placed on the site. So I encourage you to make sure that you have all of these elements on your own website. And I'll share a few more suggestions when it comes to the website and improving overall conversion, because again, that is the website's entire job. It's great. It's a great byproduct if it looks pretty, and that's important for conversion. But if you want to know if your website is working or not, you need to figure out of 100 visitors to our site, how many of those turn into callers and turn into customers? If that number is high, your website's doing its job. So a few more suggestions: be real and authentic. I talk to many HVAC contractors that are a little shy, perhaps, about sharing these kind of personal pictures, but I'll tell you, people want to do business with people, right? So I would encourage you to actually share on directly on your website, personal pictures of the team. And I talked to a client yesterday that had a big team outing in the backyard, and they had a chef in and did some great team building, team bonding, activities, like pictures of that, putting that on the website. That goes a long way to the actual human being that's on your website and is in need of your services. So I definitely encourage you to do that. Beyond that, leverage video and multimedia. And this is not something that you need to overthink. Some of you will have more of that professional style, highly produced video that maybe you've used in an advertisement in the past. I would encourage you to put that on your website. But even if it's something as simple as setting up your phone as the owner and doing a quick welcome video, you'll see this on our site actually. Is if you look there, just welcoming visitors to the site and saying why we're different, why we're the right choice to come in and help you with your HVAC needs. Video and multimedia is very important in terms of conversion. And then, as I mentioned before, showcase your social proof. So we're going to actually talk more about online reputation and how that's going to be important for the shoulder season in a bit. So we'll talk about that later in the presentation. But as you are building a world-class reputation, be sure that you're showcasing that on your website. That is one of the number one factors when it comes to people deciding whether or not they're going to want to do business with you or your competitor. And so we don't want to make people hunt for proof that you've done good work for others. As you're building that reputation, you want to showcase that, make it very easy. And then tactically, you want to have some elements on your site that do turn that knob for conversion. You have to tell people in order to make a conversion, it's why you and why now. So we've spoken a lot about the why you, right? We've talked about social proof and personal photos and multimedia. The why now is also very important, and using special offers on your website can be very important. Sometimes people will forget, and I'm auditing HVAC companies' websites, and we're in the shoulder season, and we're talking about heat repair, or air conditioning repair instead of heat repair. Like, make sure that if you do have offers on your site, make sure they're timely, make sure that they're good incentives for people to act now. And if you don't have coupons and offers on your site, I would absolutely encourage you to add those. They're a very good conversion element. And then lastly, just do me a favor, and if you would, after this presentation, make a note to pull out your phone and look at your website on mobile. I will tell you that the vast majority of the people looking at your website are not looking at it on desktop, but they're looking at it on mobile. And many folks are not even aware how poorly their site looks on mobile. and how bad and difficult an experience it is for a prospective customer to even contact you. So here's just some stats here. We won't go into great detail, but smartphones are prolific. We'll leave it at that. I think everyone knows that. When you think in your own life, if you're like me, I tend to search for all my quickly needed services on my phone, and that's where you need to make sure that your website is looking great. So those are some very tactical tips. And I know that I'm moving through this at quite a pace because we have a lot to cover today. So I do want to offer you a free checklist that we've put together. You can go to this link here, go.hvac-marketers.com/HVAC checklist. I know that's a bit much. So you can also shoot me or my team an email. If you want us to send you this checklist directly, you can just let us know. And this captures what we covered today so that you can go through and actually check off these items, make sure that they are present on your website and that you are in fact maximizing conversion. So that covers the website, that marketing hub. I just cannot emphasize that enough. To round that out, again, all of your marketing efforts, all your marketing dollars are driving prospective customers to your website. So that website needs to do its job for conversion. So now we're going to get into local service ads. And as I said at the beginning, we're not going to talk about the basics and getting this started in the 101. I'm going to assume that everyone here, or most everyone here, has got that down. So I'm gonna tell you a bit more about kind of that 201 level. If you haven't signed up for local services ads, it takes a couple of weeks, but it's an easy process. I would encourage you to do it. But that's not really the goal for today. Today we're going to take it to the next step. So number one, dialing in your profile. So this is something that's often, I think, missed by HVAC contractors that are playing this local services game. It's easy. You go through those hoops to get set up. You do the background check. You submit your license, and you go through all that, and then your ads turn on. And sometimes we kind of leave it at that. But it's important to go in and dial in your profile. That means add photos from your team and of job sites. Those photos can be seen by your prospective customers when they're looking at your LSA listing. This also means going in and selecting the attributes that apply to your business. So, clicking how long you've been in business. Are you veteran owned? Are you female owned? Whatever it may be. Do you offer 1-year guarantee behind your labor and parts? Those are all options within the profile that I often see get missed. So I would encourage you to go into the local services ads dashboard, navigate over to your portal, and really dial that in. So in addition, set your budget. So I always encourage people to really open up your budget, right? So local services is a unique play where you get the opportunity to dispute bad leads that are out of your service area or asking for services that you don't provide. So, and on top of that, they're very cost effective. We're seeing on average anywhere from $45 to say $70 per lead through the program. So that tends to make a lot of sense, I think, for most HVAC businesses. So make sure that you're opening up the budget and just letting Google, spend that money to get you as much lead flow as possible. It's my belief that with your local services ads, the only constraints that should lower your budget are your ability to book and fulfill the jobs. If hiring is the bottleneck, okay, I understand that. That's really the main limiting factor, I think, when it comes to local services ads. Beyond that, you should really have that budget opened up. Make sure that you update your ad schedule and that it's reflected properly within your profile. If you have extended your hours, or if you have the ability to answer phones outside of your business hours, make sure that your ads are in fact running during that. Set up your business bio. This is basically what I was mentioning before about adding those attributes that are specific to your business. And again, enticing prospective customers to actually do business with you, because they see you have guarantees, or they see you're veteran owned, or they see that you're family owned. All those do help with conversion. I think many of you have already dialed in your job types, but I think it's good to set like a 6-month reminder to go in and make sure that you have those job types selected properly. I know when folks are very busy, we can be more selective with those job types, and maybe we don't want duct cleaning. Maybe we only want those install searches, but make sure that as we go into shoulder season, you may want to consider opening that valve wider so that you can just get into more houses, do more of those jobs. But you're not going to get those unless you've actually gone in and adjusted the job types that you actually want. Same goes for your service area. So if you're being, more selective with your service area, because of course, the closer to home we can serve, the more cost effective. But if you're really looking to increase the number of leads that you're getting, consider widening that service area. And a pro tip that I'll add to that is make sure to add, you can add in multiple ways. So make sure that you add all the zip codes that you serve, and then make sure that you add all of the counties you serve, and then make sure that you add all of the city names that you serve. You'll notice that there's going to be a lot of overlap with these as you look at the map within local service ads. But we have found that can really just giving Google more information like that can actually increase the lead flow that you're getting. So a little bit of a pro tip there to go in and add that. And then lastly, as I mentioned, make sure that you're adding photos. This is really, I think, the primary conversion factor for people to actually click on your LSA ad and call you. I see so many profiles that have 0 photos and wonder why they're not getting any calls, or maybe they have 2 or 3 pictures that are just logos. This is where you want to add all those personal team pictures. And bear in mind that people want to do business with people. They want to see who's coming to the home before you actually get to the home. So make sure you've added those photos. So that's really the ins and outs of dialing in your profile. Beyond that, I would be curious of everyone on the call here, how many would say that they are diligently marking jobs as booked? In my experience, it's a vast minority of HVAC businesses that are truly marking every job as booked. Now you may ask, Alex, why is this important? Well, we have seen that going in and marking jobs as booked is very important for Google's algorithm to rank you well. Google is going to rate your responsiveness by how well you complete your jobs, and booking rate is one of those factors. Like for Google, if they're sending you leads and they're not getting marked as booked, Google's saying, okay, well, we're sending our Google customers to, Acme HVAC, and they're calling Acme HVAC, but these jobs aren't getting booked. So our Google customers must not be getting a good experience with Acme HVAC. So let's give those leads to someone else. We want to avoid that situation. And that's why marking jobs as booked, marking them as scheduled is very important. You also want to go in and add the customer detail, including email address, phone number, notes. Phone number is pre-populated, but you get the gist. You want to add as much information as you can within the dashboard. Make sure that you're archiving non-converted opportunities. Like the more that we play Google's game, and I know that this is an extra step oftentimes, but the more that we're doing this, the more that Google is going to reward us with more leads, with better leads, with lower cost leads even. They want us playing their game, so we need to do that, even though it is that extra step. So number 3, kind of in our Google Ads 201 course, keeping this brief. Again, we have a whole webinar dedicated to local service ads. So if you're like, this is the area I could use some improvement, definitely be sure to check out our entire session on local service ads. So number 3, deal with disputes. So the beauty of LSA, as you all know, is that you're not charged for disqualified leads. So make sure that you have someone, and it should be one person within your team that's responsible for disputing these bad leads, because it does reduce your overall cost per lead. So if they're outside your service area, if they're asking for a service you don't provide, make sure that there's someone that's disputing that lead. That's just a must do. And then 4, drive verified leads. So this is very important. And this is a big reason why you want to make sure you're taking that extra step to add emails into the LSA dashboard. So number of reviews is a major driver for LSA, as we have found. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is you have your traditional Google reviews, but Google, of course, knows which reviews come directly from the LSA platform. And it's my belief that those reviews carry a lot more weight than even the traditional Google reviews. Those are important, but just think about this from Google's perspective. This is always the trick when it comes to doing well with Google's products. You have to think, what is their angle? Well, they want to provide top quality service to Google customers. Who are Google customers? Google customers are the people that are going to Google and looking for HVAC repair near me. So if I am a Google customer, which I am, and I go and search that on my phone and I see Acme HVAC again, I click on Acme HVAC, I see their photos, I see they've been in business for 20 years and that they're veteran owned. Okay, I'll give these guys a call. I call them. I need, my air's out. I need someone to come take a look. So I book the service call. They come out, everything gets fixed. And then I receive a review request that was sent by Acme HVAC from the LSA dashboard. And then I leave a review. Well, this gives Google a lot of really powerful information, right? So Google has been able to see this transaction from front to end. So they provided the initial lead. They saw that Acme HVAC booked the lead because they're being diligent about booking jobs in the dashboard. And then at the very end, they saw that me as a Google customer left a very positive review and had a good experience with Acme HVAC. So what does that tell Google? That tells Google that their customers are having good experience with Acme HVAC. And as a result, they're probably going to provide more leads to Acme HVAC, because being selfishly motivated, Google wants the best experience for their customers. So that's why it's very important to make sure that you're sending those review requests directly from the platform. Of course, a prerequisite is make sure that you're always providing great service. As I mentioned, leverage the dashboard, make sure that you're sending out those review requests because of those reasons that I mentioned. And then lastly, this is a stretch goal for many, but it's important to have a goal, right? So I want to encourage you to try to target an 85% booking rate within your LSA dashboard. And this just goes back to, again, looking through Google's lens, if you will, of what motivates them. Again, and I just can't say this enough. They want a good experience for their customers. So if they're providing leads to your HVAC business and you're booking 85+% of the leads that come through, that tells Google again and again and again, hey, these guys are really good at what they do and they take care of Google's customers. We're going to keep sending them leads. So maintaining LSA and working the dashboard, assigning one person within your team to manage it this shoulder season is really going to be a key factor in order to leverage this platform as much as possible, spend as much of your budget as possible, and get new customers ultimately through this slower shoulder season. So I think we've covered a fair amount of this. Yeah, so we'll keep barreling on. I'm trying to keep an eye on the time because we still got a fair amount to cover. But I hope that this is helpful, guys. This is not everything. This isn't doing everything that I identified at the beginning that really is the ideal full program that covers all 7 aspects that are needed for HVACs to book more jobs through the internet. But this is more that 80-20, like what are the things that you can do that are going to get you new customers through the shoulder season We're going to talk now about leveraging existing customers and how to get more value out of your existing customers. And then wrap it up talking about reputation and how important that is specifically for this shoulder season, to have that as a focus. And these collectively make up that 20% that I believe create 80% of the results. So in order to get value from your existing customers, you have to contact them. Okay. You have to contact them. So I think many of you, if you're not, should be doing the email marketing game and sending out at least a monthly newsletter, updating kind of here's what's going on with our company, or, meet our new tech, or here's some pictures of us at this local charity event. It doesn't always have to be a sales pitch, but staying front of mind with your customers, email is really a good play to do that. But we're going to dive in for just a moment about how text message marketing can really be a very strong additional layer to add on to that. So I'm going to just quickly share some numbers. This, again, we did an entire presentation on. So this is going to just be an appetizer portion for text message marketing. So I'm having to transition over to my other screen here. So bear with me. This I think will get the gears turning for you if you're not already doing text message marketing. So this is a calculator. You're welcome to have this. Again, just contact me or my team. We'll send this to you. But this is the SMS marketing calculator. And what this looks at is basically your list size. So how many customers do you have in your list? So let's say you have 3,000 customers in your list. And what we're doing with text message marketing is we are sending out to our customers a personalized message with a timely offer. So I'll share some of the exact messaging in the next couple of slides, but think for an example about sending your customer list an offer containing a coupon for a winter tune-up. Okay, so we're going to say that you have 3,000 customers on your list, and then we have to arrive at an average ticket size. So this can vary, I know, from shop to shop, because as we're sending out these offers, now let's say it's a $119 winter tune-up special. A portion of those people that raise their hand and take advantage of the coupon, well, all they're going to spend is that $129 or $119, and that'll be it. And then a portion of those are going to turn into larger service jobs, and then a smaller portion, but important, are going to turn into installs, changeouts. So we have to try to average those numbers. And so I'm going to try to be conservative and say like 450. And I know many of you will say, oh, like average ticket for us is much higher than that. Well, that's great. That's the best case scenario. But I'm just going to try to be conservative for this example's sake. So what that means is out of 3,000 contacts in your list and a $450 average ticket size, what we see is just shy of 5% of people that you send this text to are going to raise their hand and they're going to say, yes, I want this coupon, book me into your schedule. So what that results in is, let's see. So if we were to book every single one of those, all of a sudden, just like that, you have unlocked $63,450 of revenue from your customer list, which is very powerful. But I'm a realistic guy. We're not going to book 100% of those. So this is typically where I'd ask you, if we were one-on-one, I would say, well, how many, or what percent of these hands raised is your dispatch team going to be able to close down? And you may tell me, 80% or 90%. But even if I say, well, 50%, all of a sudden you've unlocked almost $32,000 from one offer from your customer list. And again, this is assuming 3,000 customers on your list. You can go crazy with this math. All of a sudden, if you have 8,000 customers and you feel like you're going to book 70%, you're well over $100,000 in revenue that's been unlocked. So text message marketing. Oh, whoops. Oh, I'm still sharing my screen. Perfect. So text message marketing is very powerful, and it is something that I feel everyone should be doing. If you've got the list, which many of you do, there's no reason to not be sending your customers offers via text. So what typically the next question is what are those offers looking like? So I'll share that with you. You're getting the inside scoop. This is some exact messaging that we use with our clients, and of course, this needs to be timely, right? So this needs to be changed. I'm gonna force you to be a little bit creative and come up with what this would be for the shoulder season. But you'll see here, hey Joe, it's Alex from Acme Air. We have a few remaining coupons for summer season tune-ups. Would you be interested? So just swap in winter season tune-ups. Like it's very easy. So that's the initial text that we send, and then we send one follow-up. Hey, just checking back to see if you'd be interested, and seeing some incredible results from that. So again, you're not spending money on ads. All you're doing is leveraging your existing customer list, and from that, unlocking all sorts of revenue. So these are some real numbers that we're seeing. 33,000 in jobs booked. Another let's see, 13,000 ballpark, and people that have raised their hand and said yes, that just need to be booked in, all just from leveraging your customer list. So if this is not a game you're playing, and you have, like, for many of you, maybe you're not doing this, but you have Podium, or you have another tool that enables text message marketing. Of course, we have a tool, and we do this for our clients. But again, this session's not intended to be a sales pitch to you. This is truly, I'm just trying to give you the tricks of the trade, the best things that we have found to really shake the bushes and stay busy through the shoulder season. And text message marketing is really a powerful tool for that. One note to add on this, and why you really want to start this now, if you're going to be doing this, which I know, hopefully we're in agreement that we're going to take the next step, and you all are going to be implementing this, be that with us, be that on your own, is there are some new regulations that are rolling out as we speak that must be complied with when it comes to text message marketing. And this is another kind of jumping through hoops exercise, but it needs to be done once, and then you're good to go. And basically, as a result of these regulations, we're being promised a high deliverability rate. So if you think of email, one of the big problems with email is, like, all of our newsletters tend to hit the spam folder, and maybe we're only getting 15-20% open rate on newsletters. That doesn't have to be the case with text message marketing, given this new compliance. So we're trying to view it as a positive. So there you go. That's my optimism for the day. Perfect. So that is really, in my opinion, the most powerful tool for digital marketing to take advantage of your existing customer list. Now, I want to round out the presentation today talking about online reputation and why it is so important. So I think we subconsciously all know Google reviews are important, but I want to share a couple of stats with you just to really drive that home. So 84% of people trust an online review as much as they do a personal recommendation. Now, just think about that for a moment and let that sink in. I mean, that is very powerful to know. 84% of people are trusting an online review that they read as much as they do their, wife's friend that just used a company and said, "Oh, these guys are good." So you can basically build your own personal referral network through your online reputation through Google reviews, which is a huge opportunity. 77% of consumers think that reviews more than 3 months old aren't relevant. So this is kind of the other side of that coin, if you will. When I'm doing our free evaluation, free diagnostic of your, of each of that company's online presence, oftentimes I'll see, 300 reviews and it's a 4.8 star, and that's all good. But then I look at the recent reviews, and man, it's been maybe one review a month ago, and then another review 2 months ago, 2 reviews, 3, like they're so old and stale. And I think that this, which is why I'm sharing this stat with you, is important to know that such a high percent of people after 3 months don't even put any weight into a review. So the consistency at which your reviews are coming in is very important. So here's another couple of interesting. I'm a stats guy, so I'll share a couple more, and then we'll get into some actionable items that I have for you. So, consumers read an average of 10 online reviews before feeling able to trust a local business, and that sounds like a lot. But I would encourage you to think about your own buying behaviors. Like I know, for example, my wife and I we're heading out of town actually later today. So we're kind of in between the grocery store runs, and we thought, well, we'll go out and try a new restaurant. So I go to my phone and I type in restaurants, and I want to do something new. So I look at some of the local restaurants that we haven't tried yet. And the first thing I do is go to the reviews, and I'll read multiple reviews. And I bet you, as you become aware of this, you'll notice you do the same thing. Before, and in that case, me feeling like, we should give this restaurant a try. I've read many reviews. And then 57% of consumers will only use a business if it has 4 or more stars on local reviews. So I think for most of you, this is not an issue, and most are staying above that 4-star review. Again, in order to stay above the 4-star, you just need to be getting it done, from an operations standpoint, providing that world-class service, going above and beyond for your customers that I know you are. And that's really how to keep that average review score high. So some reasons that reviews are very important. Well, number one, they do impact your Google ranking. But what I think is even more important, so we find that Google reviews have about a 14% factor when it comes to where you rank in Google search. So it is important for that. But as I've kind of alluded to here, it's more important for how you convert those prospective customers into actual customers. So once you've gotten in front of them, and they are on average looking at 10 online reviews before feeling able to trust you, if you have, your reputation in place, and you're really trending at a world-class level for reputation, you are going to convert insanely higher number of prospective customers into callers, into real customers. So I'm going to share with you the 5 key principles of how you can actually go about creating a world-class reputation. And as I said, number one, and I just always have to say it, it has to begin with you. It has to begin with providing a world-class customer experience. If you're not doing this, skip the rest of the steps because they will be irrelevant. Number one, you have to be knocking it out of the park for your customers. So I'm going to assume that that's in place. I know many of you I talk to are really doing that and really crushing it for your customers, but that's not yet being reflected on your Google reviews. So that's the problem that we're going to solve here. So which leads us to number 2. So build online reviews and reputation management into your company culture. So this is the step that I think many miss. And this is what I'm going to present to you as the real opportunity coming into this shoulder season, is to think about how you incorporate reviews and reputation management into your company culture. And I'm going to share, just food for thought, some actionable ideas on how to do that. So when it comes to incorporating this into your culture, a really simple idea is a monthly incentive for your tech with the most reviews. I'm a big believer in what gets measured improves. So, and what gets celebrated improves. So and this is where you should be creative. This is not going to look the same for every HVAC company, but think about what can be an incentive on, I think, at least a monthly basis to reward the techs that are getting the most reviews. It's all about putting, aligning incentives in the right place in order to achieve whatever result that you're trying to get. So in the case of reviews and online reputations, making it very known that you're measuring how many reviews each tech is getting, which is that what gets measured improves metric, but then also that they're getting rewarded publicly, like your team huddle. That's where you're giving out the gift card, or that's where you're giving out the $100 bill, or whatever it is. I can assure you, if you can implement something into your culture that costs you, $300-$500 max per month, but is significantly increasing your reviews, I can assure you that'll be the best marketing spend that you have in your entire budget. It's absolutely worth it, because Google reviews and online reviews in general are the blanket that lay across all of your marketing efforts, because not only does it help you get found through SEO on Google, but as I mentioned, and more importantly, it's the biggest conversion factor for prospective customers. So I would encourage you to do that. And further, you can take this a step further and actually role play with your techs on how they can go about asking for the review. So just as an example, as a tech is finishing up a job, maybe having a card that has the QR code, the link to leave a review, but what the tech says is actually more important than the card itself. Saying, hey, here's a card that'll let you leave a review, and you're going to be receiving an email and a text that with the link to make this really easy. But I'd really appreciate if you left that review. We're evaluated as technicians based on the reviews that we get, and so if you wouldn't mind mentioning me by name in your review, it'd be very much appreciated. So saying all the right things to say, hey, I'm going to be evaluated based on this review, and that creates that reciprocity, as we say, with your customer. Like, the tech did a good job, and so they're asking this small favor of the customer to leave a review and mention me by name. That tends to work at a much higher level than just simply sending out an email or sending out a text automatically and hoping, praying that your customers are actually leaving the reviews. Planting that seed ahead of time is really going to help with conversion there. And then this is actually an idea that I took from one of our clients that I think is very brilliant, and they've found great success with it. Tip your tech. So this is something that you can communicate to your customers. And essentially the idea is, hey, we did work for you today, and if you want to leave us a tip, go on Google and leave us a review and mention me by name, because when you do that, and a review comes through that mentions me, Alex, your tech, by name, I get tipped by my company, X $20 or whatever the amount is. Again, you just create that reciprocity where the tech's done a good job, and the customer is, feels the need to reciprocate that. And if they're like, hey, I can give you a tip without taking any money in my pocket, I can just leave you a review, like, absolutely, I'll do that. So these are just to get the gears turning in your head. I want you to, feel free to swipe and deploy these ideas, but also iterate off of these, and try different things. Like, what works for one HVAC shops maybe not going to work for yours, and you may want to try something different. So definitely, I would say try something, implement it in the next week, and that way you can get this rolling before shoulder season. And make sure that you're measuring. Well, here, we'll go to the next slide. I'm talking over my slides. So, whoops. Oh, I'm getting mixed up here. So sorry about that. Make sure, oh, here we go. Yeah. So make sure that you're measuring the reviews that are coming in. Make sure that you're acknowledging your staff publicly and rewarding them. That's ultimately what I'm trying to say there. Those are the elements that need to be in place to really make this work at a cultural level. So right here, this is the slide I was trying to find. So what you measure, inspect, and celebrate, you create more of. I think we all inherently know that this is true. So let's keep rolling here. I want to be kind of, respectful of everyone's time. We've covered a lot of ground. So yeah, I think most of you probably have this in place. So make sure that you are leveraging some kind of automation to send out these reviews. Like that's a must. But what I'm trying to tell you today in our webinar is like, okay, I'm going to assume that you're doing some of the basics because the basics have been working for the last several years. But given what we're entering into with shoulder season 2023, we got to take it from the 101 level to the 201 level. So that's where I mentioned, like with Google reviews and online reputation, actually making it a part of your culture. But having the automation in place, of course, is important. If your customers don't have a way to actually easily leave that review, then it's still not going to work. So you got to have that in place as well. And then another basic, but 5, acknowledge and respond to every review. This is just an absolute must, not just the negative reviews, but all the positive reviews. You really need to be responding to for a number of reasons. But I'll give examples for both. I'm a believer that, well, first off, we all receive negative reviews. It's just the rule of big numbers. When you have a big customer list and you work with a lot of customers, inevitably you're going to get that negative review. And that's okay, because I'm a believer that sometimes those are our biggest opportunities to really shine for our other prospective customers. So just for example, let's say someone leaves you, that classic, nasty, disrespectful 1-star review. And it's always tempting, I know, because I can be guilty of this too, to go in and like really go to bat and defend yourself and kind of stick it to that person that maybe they weren't even a customer, but they just went and left you a nasty review. But I would encourage you to think about leaving a professional review and acknowledging whatever the issue was, and just, again, being professional, because what's going to happen is, as I mentioned before, your average customer is looking at 10 reviews before they make a decision. So many are going to hunt for that 1-star review. They're going to find it, and they're going to see a thoughtful response from you as the business. Your average reasonable good customer is going to see like, oh man, that's kind of a nasty review, but these guys had a really nice, thoughtful, like respectful review. They didn't bash him. It just makes you, you're the bigger man, so to speak. And you would be surprised how important that is as other prospective customers look at those 1-star reviews. And really, those can oftentimes be the ones that sell them to pick up the phone and call you, even more than just like the bundle of 5-star reviews. So make sure you're responding to the negative ones, but also respond to the positive reviews. And I'll give you the story on that side. So imagine that you are that customer of your business, and your techs come out, done work at my house, my air's running again, and he said, hey, we do this tip your tech program, and I'll get $20 if you mention me by name in a review. So I go in and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool, and yeah, I'll do that, and I leave a quick review, 5 stars. And then the next day comes by and I get an email from Google, and it's like, oh, Acme HVAC responded to your review. I click on it and it's like, hey, Alex, thanks so much for the review. I'm so glad that Tony was able to help you. We really appreciate your business. Like, wow. And it says from, the owner, HVAC, Acme HVAC, from the owner. What is that going to do from a retention standpoint for your existing customers? Well, I'll tell you, it's going to be huge. People want to be appreciated, and that's such an easy way to do it. So look at responding to the positive reviews as a retention play and a long-term play. That way you're really cementing your name in their head and in their mind when it comes time, for you to come back and do more work for them. And when you're sending text messages with offers, and when you're doing the asks, that's something that people don't forget is that acknowledgement from the business. So, okay, that was a lot that we covered. But I think it's very doable. Again, this is the 20% of activities I think you should focus on that'll move 80% of the progress for this shoulder season that I feel you really can take and own in-house. So I would encourage you today, as I always do, to not let this just be another session that you sit through and learn, like absorb a lot of information and nothing happens. Like that is a waste of time. What I would encourage you to do instead is just take at least one item that you learned today, write it down, put it in your calendar, and then in your calendar, go out a week from today and say, I'm going to have this implemented by, let's see, what's next Tuesday? Because I'm a fan of action. So the 5th, September 5th. Look, the year is going quickly. So September 5th, I want you in your calendar to have written down something. Maybe it's, hey, we're going to try that tip of tech thing. Or maybe it's, I'm going to download Alex's checklist and make sure our website's got all of the right conversion elements. Whatever it is from today's session, put that in your calendar. And I'm a believer that results come from speed to implementation. So take one thing that you learned from today, implement it by the 5th, and you'll see that progress and be even better positioned for this upcoming shoulder season. So just as a quick recap of what we covered, improving your marketing hub, which is your website for higher conversion across all your marketing efforts, taking the next steps to really optimize your LSA ads and improve your lead flow through them. 3, leveraging your customer list, and then 4, building a world-class reputation through your company's culture. Guys, these are all things that you can do that are going to make a big difference this shoulder season. They're really that 80-20 when it comes to marketing efforts for over the next couple of months. Now, since you've stuck with me to the very end here, I do want to offer a reward for those that are on this call today. So you can take that checklist and you can go through and evaluate where you're at. But we also offer a free marketing strategy session. And in that session, we go one-on-one. And instead of like in this webinar setting where we look, I'm talking at a high level and it's more, you have to take this and do it on your own. If you book a marketing strategy session with us, what you'll get is a one-on-one meeting with me and my team and I. We spend usually about 3 hours preparing for that meeting. And we're the ones that actually do the heavy lifting of looking at your website to see if those conversion elements are in place, looking at all aspects of your online marketing, in this case, to get ready for the shoulder season and let you know where you stand. So if that's something that you'd like to take advantage of, you can easily go to our website and click to schedule on that. And I'd love to be able to help you there. I think it's a no obligation session where people always tend to leave that session and go, wow, I know more now about my marketing than I did before this session. And that's always my goal. And as always, if there's any other way that I can help, if there's something in this presentation that you liked that you wanted me to send to you or would like to chat, bounce ideas off, that's something that I'm always willing and happy to do for you all. So there's my direct contact information. And again, thanks for joining me today. This is going to be a great shoulder season. Through trial comes the most opportunity. So some people are going to really hunker in and they're going to really be timid and they're going to sort of play not to lose this shoulder season. I want you all to play to win. I want you to implement these really key strategies that are going to move the needle and rocket this shoulder season and really show why you're the top in your service area. And if I can be of help to do that for you, I would love the opportunity. So thanks again for sticking with us to the end here. And I wish you all great success this shoulder season and a happy Labor Day coming up. So see you on the next session.